Hello, I'm Jasmine Shapiro, and this is Shannon Johnson.
Hello.
And we're with BHHS Chicago. We are realtors here in Illinois, Northern Illinois. And we have a wonderful guest today. We're thrilled to have Jordan Kagan with us. He's the man of silver.
And he is on our senior resource team. So he is a part of our team. We work with him regularly. And we're super excited to introduce him to our viewers and our listeners.
Thank you so much. Thank you for having me.
And we met Jordan because Shannon and I were taking our senior real estate specialist certification a couple years ago. And my mother was constantly on my case saying, take my silver, get it appraised, I want to sell it. And I kept telling my mom, I don't know where to go and I don't have the time to do it. And lo and behold, while we were doing this certification class for 2 days, Jordan Kagan
I fell into your life.
fell into our lives, and he gave a little presentation and brought lunch one day. And as you finished, I grabbed you and said, Jordan, I need you to come and talk to my mom. And you made a house call. You went to her house, did your presentation. Shannon and I came.
made sure Shannon came along for the ride
because
I
we
knew
wanted
you were
to
a team.
see what you do, and we've referred you to other clients.
Very much so.
So tell us a little about how you got into this, because the man of silver, it doesn't even describe all that you do.
I'm going to even start with this senior real estate class you were part of. A friend of mine is a young realtor. He's actually going to be president of NASBAR, and this podcast studio is part of NASBAR. We're at the NASBAR office now. And I said to him, with over 10,000 baby boomers turning 65 every day, I said, I personally feel anyone that likes to work with seniors and as a realtor should have this designation. 80% of real estate closings occur from maybe 20% of the realtors. You're the 20%. And only 1% of all realtors in Illinois are senior real estate specialists. And I still shocks me how few. And it's like a simple 2-day class that you took. And I'm glad you took it. I'm glad we met, because to me, working with what I would say is often the most vulnerable of populations is very rewarding. And that's not just seniors. I'm part of 2 different organizations for continuity care. And that's not only dealing with seniors, but also families where they might have someone that's neurodiverse. A family member that's on the spectrum, mental illness, born with some challenges. And I think there's more and more families that are affected, and people are living longer, but people are also getting sicker at sometimes younger. So I grew up at Smart Jewelers. I grew up in the watch and jewelry industry.
And that your dad had started.
My dad
that, right?
started in the early 60s. I worked 25 years with him. And when he left in 2011, I left with him. And it was and I think life should be a segue. It should be a transition. So 2011, it was in an office building, a nice gold buying operation. I was near Lake Cook and Waukegan Road, and lo and behold, a woman across from Northbrook Court called me one day. And she said, my cleaning lady says after 25 years, I will never polish my tea set again.
Don't blame her.
And she said, you could do with it whatever you want. You could polish it yourself. You could let it tarnish. You could put it away. You could donate it. You could sell it. I don't care. I'm done polishing it. She said, I'm 80 years old. I'm not entertaining like I used to. But the problem is my husband's on oxygen. So for me to pick up this 20-pound tea set and bring it to you is like a half-a-day ordeal. Can you do me a favor and come to me? And I said, I'd be happy to. So she was beyond elated. She got a check for $4,500.
Wow.
The next day, I found someone that was willing, a collector that was willing to pay me $7,000. So I was happy. And I realized that the home appointments wasn't important. All my competitors, which is like the coin stores and the pawn stores and the jewelry stores, they all buy gold. It's like on everyone's window, we buy gold. And of those that buy gold, only half of them buy silver, and only half of them buy silver plate, and none of them do home appointments. So silver became the niche, which made me, I could buy gold and I could buy coins, but to me what sets me apart from others is the sterling silver and now the silver plate. So I've sold over 200 flatware sets online, and not one of them was purchased in Chicagoland. Every single one got sent out of state. Silver plate, I've been told by the biggest dealer of silver plate in the country, no one buys as much in Chicagoland as me. I'm doing a 1/4 ton a month of that. So
Wow.
I'm trying to keep stuff out of the landfill, find new homes for it. And as you said, Shannon, I'm definitely surrounding myself with not just the senior resource team here, but I love to be a resource to help people when they say, do you have a handyman, or do you have someone that deals with senior case management or care management, or I need a home for,
Yes.
I don't know where my family's going to go. My mom is getting old, she has dementia, and she can't be at home anymore.
Yes, Jordan is an incredible networker. So when we need somebody and we don't have the vendor, we go, Jordan. And he's like, oh yeah, I got you. So he always has a guy. He said, I got a guy.
Or a woman.
Or a woman, yes.
I got 2 great women here.
So as far as your business, what does that little 925 on the silver mean?
It is an alloy, it means 92.5% silver. Pure silver, or pure gold for that matter, is incredibly soft.
Right.
So it's 92.5% silver mixed with an alloy. Pure gold is 24 karat. So when someone says they have 18 karat gold, that's 75% pure, 18 over 24. And 14 karat's about 58% pure. So those are both alloys.
And when we talk about silver plate, what's underneath the silver
It's usually
generally?
brass. About 80% of the time it's brass. 1% silver plate, like silver on the top. The rest underneath is going to be brass. So where silver, gold, and platinum are precious metals, measured in troy ounces. So someone says silver's $30 an ounce, it's $30 a troy ounce. So if someone thought they had 100 ounces of silver, it's actually 91.1 troy ounces of 925, 92.5% silver. So if someone looked on their kitchen scale and said, I have 100 ounces of flatware, it's actually about 84 troy ounces of silver.
So there's some math involved.
Absolutely some math. And I always say this, I try to make each of my appointments incredibly informative, because I just want to make sure everyone knows how I'm coming to my numbers. If someone, before I came in, thought they had 100 ounces, and they were including the knives, and they were at regular ounces and not troy ounces, and didn't take into account not pure silver, their numbers in their mind are going to be way off. And knives, a lot of people have seen the word stainless on a knife blade, thought the whole set was stainless steel, only for me to show them where it says sterling on the handle, because you have a blade that's steel, not the knife. So I've had people thought the box said silver plate on the flatware chest, and they never looked at the back of a spoon or fork to find out it was sterling.
So how do you know that? We saw that you did an acid test at my mother's house, but do you always do an acid test, or how do you know if it is really silver plate or silver?
I've never seen a counterfeit sterling silver flatware set. If it says silver, sterling silver, or silver on the back of a fork or a spoon, it's silver.
Okay. And even if it's super old and a little worn out, you could still see it, right?
In most cases, yeah. Knives can be a little bit more problematic. And you said old, and that's a good thing. People often think it's so old. It was my great-great-grandma, or my mom got it from her great-great-grandma. So it has to be valuable and it has to be old. Silver plate was started in the mid-1800s.
Really?
Oh.
By like 175 years ago, it was already getting popular. So it could be really old, and still be silver plate.
So speaking of old, if I have all this old silver that was in great grandma or auntie, whatever's closet, and I pull it out and I'm like, okay, I'm going to call that guy I heard about. Do I need to polish all that up, clean it up, and get it ready for you?
No need to
So you're going
polish
to take it
it.
all tarnished and ugly.
I'll take it tarnished, dirty,
Dented.
broken, dented. As I said earlier, I do buy gold. Silver is 30-ish an ounce. Gold is 2,300 an ounce. So you could almost have I always say as an example, I have one gold ring. With gold being 2,300 an ounce, you need almost 80 of those in silver to be worth the same thing. So like a broken chain, a broken bracelet, a single earring, it could have a lot of value. And if you don't, one of my mottos is if you don't use it, wear it, or want it, why not sell it?
Right.
And as a team, we keep saying, I didn't want it when my parents gave it to me. My parents got it from their parents. My kids don't want it. And I encourage people, enough is enough. Let's break this generation to generation of dumping stuff on the next generation. Enough. Let's get rid of it. And luckily, my kids' generation are more minimalist, and they really don't want this stuff.
Right.
And so many of these things that were really collectible and desirable by our parents or our grandparents, you could barely give them away to, like the china and the yadros. So I might not always be telling people what they hear. Thankfully, most of them know it.
Well, there's a story that we've heard you tell about this was Grandma's favorite silver set. And turns out you open it up and...
Well, those two sisters had two great stories. One, they at the last minute, they said, we thought we had two sterling silver flatware sets. One sterling, one silver plate. Will you still come? And I said, of course. Most of you don't have two sterling silver flatware sets. And I immediately opened up the both boxes, and the box on the left, I said, what makes you think this is silver plate? They said, well, look at the box lid. And I said, did you flip a spoon or a fork over to look at the back? They said, no. I said, well, you would see the word sterling on it. And I joked with them. I says, I'm happy to buy your silver plate flatware set for $100. But it's going to be worth well over $1,000 because it's sterling, not silver plate. Which do you prefer? So that got them to laugh.
Right.
And the next one was, as you said, they felt so guilty. Grandma raved. They were raised. Grandma raved about her Wallace Grand Baroque sterling silver flatware set. And then Mom bragged about it. And these two sisters in Buffalo Grove felt so guilty getting rid of Grandma's Wallace Grand Baroque flatware set. And I paraphrase back, so Grandma loved her Wallace Grand Baroque. I hear you saying, oh yeah, she always talked about it. And I held up a spoon and a fork and turned it upside down. And I says, these are sealed up from Grandma's wedding day in the 1950s. Grandma loved it so much, she never used it once.
Still wrapped in plastic.
From the factory. Mom never used it once. Why do you feel guilty getting rid of what was never used in 70 years? I once had, I'm sure some of the, people watching us and listening to us, remember the old Pitney Bowes postage stamps, the postage meter. And I had one box that was a wedding present. It was postmarked 1954.
Wow.
Never used. Sealed up wedding present. And this is what we use. Right. The stuff that I'm buying, the stuff that you're emptying out of your house, you're dealing with, your mama is at home with a caregiver, you just emptied out your parents' house.
That's a story in itself.
The stuff we're dealing with, for the most part, has been sitting around the house for 20, 30 years. It's not being used.
So what are you doing with it? You buy it, and then are you melting it down? What are you doing with it?
It just depends on the item. It's against federal law to melt down coins. So, a lot of people invest in metals and stuff like that. I have sources for that. The silver plate flatware sets, a lot of those go online. I've sold hundreds of them. There's a great antique mall that opened up last November. It's called America's Antique Mall, which is in Algonquin, Illinois. So I have 4 spaces there. I have one for costume jewelry. I have another one for more housewares, a lock showcase for sterling silver, and some higher end stuff. Silver plate, for the most part, is being shipped out east to be repurposed. When people are saying, I can't get more for this flatware set, I'm like, I'm paying you for, $60 for this flatware set, big, with the platter. And so if you went to the flea market at the Allstate Arena, I don't think you're going to get $40 for it.
Right.
Okay.
Because people walk by it, no one even asks about it. It's sad. No one wants these.
You mentioned coins. Are there certain years we should be looking for? What's important when we talk about coins?
I think the first thing I often will see is from 1964 and before, dimes, quarters, and half dollars were made out of 90% silver content.
Dimes, nickels, quarters before 1964.
64 and before.
Okay.
Half dollars only, 65 to 70. Instead of 90%, they're made out of 40%. Silver dollars, for the most part, you have to be about 100 years old. The Morgan dollars and the Peace dollars really stopped being made in the 1930s, so we're coming up about 100 years. Old doesn't mean rare. Old doesn't mean valuable. So many of these coins, they made millions or hundreds of millions of them. So it doesn't mean value. Especially like the wheat cents. So many people have these wheat cents. People are buying them for 2 pennies a piece, So I'm not going to tell you to go to, Wintrust Bank. If you have a piggy bank that's been accumulated,
Right.
and it's just pocket change, Wintrust Bank I always send people to. It's, great service. It's where I have my account, but they also don't charge non-customers to count their change.
Oh,
It's,
that's
so it's better you don't have to go to Jewel and pay them 10% or Walmart, Coinstar.
Well, there you go.
Yeah.
There you go. You just said something that reminded me of something else. Okay, these commercials we see for collectible coins and mints and...
Don't get me started, please, Shannon.
That's why I asked.
To me, I think it got even worse during COVID. I see all the time people that have got into...
They have collections.
They went shopping online. Couple companies that I think are absolutely brilliant with their marketing: Bradford Exchange, Franklin Mint, Danbury Mint. Great marketing tools. They got people to think these stuff were rare and going to be valuable and going to be collector's item and increase in value. And it breaks my heart how many of these I've seen. And most of these things are worth 1/3 of what someone paid for them.
Okay.
Wow.
So don't go shopping for coins online in the middle of the night. Just don't do it.
Ask Jordan
Please
first.
don't.
All right. Such good information. Who knew that Grandma's silver could make you, what did you say, $4,500? Who knows?
I also will say, taking pictures of what isn't being used, chances are those photos will be seen more than that flatware set that's been sitting in the China buffet for the last 20 years.
There are other ways we can remember it.
And a lot of people I deal with, they don't need the money. And I say, take that found money, if it's $500 or $5,000 or $20,000, if you don't need the money, create some new memories from the old memories.
I love it.
If it's a vacation, if it's a family reunion, Grandma took everyone out for dinner one last time. We have 20 people at this dinner table. Grandma paid for it, and we create new memories from the old.
I love
memories.
that.
There's nothing better than that.
No.
Thank you so much, Jordan.
Thank you, Shannon and Jasmine, for having me.
Absolutely.
And being part of this team.
Thanks for listening. Tune in next time.